Hi everyone, today I'll be giving my thoughts on the movie Americana and letting you know if this movie's worth a watch or if you should just save your money on a trip to the theater. I'll do my best to avoid spoilers and I'll let you know ahead of time if I do decide to dive into any spoilers at all. Americana follows a few groups of people whose stories are all linked to a ghost shirt, which is a valuable artifact to the indigenous Lakota people. Now, the ghost shirt's worth a ton of money, and every character has their own reasons for wanting to get it. Most of the characters want to sell it so they can make out with a large amount of money, pretty much just in hopes of creating better lives for themselves. Then there's a group of Native Americans who pretty much just want the ghost shirt returned to them because they do believe that they are the rightful owners of the artifact. Then we have our villain, who's also trying to get his hands on the ghost shirt just so he can make out like a bandit by selling it for a stupid large amount of money. And then I think he just pretty much wants to get it to a like artifacts dealer or a museum of some type. So that's who he's selling it to, or just black market. He's doing some sketchy shit. Anyway, that's a general speed run of the overall plot. So this will be your minor spoiler warning as I get into some of the main characters, if you will. There are a lot of main characters, so I'll do my best to give just a brief description of each of them. We have Penny Joe at first, played by Sydney Sweeney, who's a waitress wanting to pursue a singing career. And we have Lefty, played by Paul Walter Hauser, who is a veteran, pretty much doing everything he can to speedrun himself into getting a wife, because he's kind of just a lonely little guy. And both of them, both characters, Penny Joe and Lefty, I think are both very adorable characters in this movie. I think they do an incredible job. So it's really fun to watch their relationship develop throughout the whole movie. Something particular that I do like about this duo is that Penny Joe, like most characters, want the ghost shirt just so she can get enough money to launch herself in a singing career. Whereas Lefty is pretty much only helping her because, well, he has feelings for her and he's hoping that if he helps her out and gets this ghost shirt, they can sell it, get enough money, and that she can go pursue this singing career and she'll be happy and hopefully they can be happy together. Now, this absolutely will be a spoiler. One of the characters that I'm going to go over is Mandy, who's played by Halsey, and her little brother Cal, which this is the spoiler part of it, later ends up becoming, or is later revealed to be her son. Mandy is wanting to escape her past for the most part because she has a very like cult escape past that she went through with her family. And she's going to use the money from the ghost shirt to help create a better life for herself and her son. Even her son has no idea that that's their relationship. He also thinks that of her as like a big sister. And honestly, the age gap is so small that it does lead you to believe like he could absolutely just be her little brother because it doesn't seem like a massive age gap, mostly just because Mandy looks super young. Most of the movie, they're separated though, because Cal didn't want to go with Mandy at the beginning of the movie. He wanted to pretty much just help indigenous people get their shirt back because he thinks that he's the reincarnation of Sitting Bull, and he's just this little white boy that's just sold on the fact that he is in fact the reincarnation of Sitting Bull, who was like a chief war leader back in the 1800s. Anyway, Cal ends up being on his own for a while because Mandy leaves without him, and he joins this guy named Ghost Eye, who's played by Zan McClarnon. I think that's how I pronounce his name. Anyway, they're just trying to get the ghost shirt back because they believe it belongs to the Native American people. And because Cal thinks that he is a reincarnation of an old Native American chief or war leader, he feels like it's also his duty to help out that Native American resistance group. Next, and pretty much the last person who's gunning for this ghost shirt, is the villain, who is Roy Lee Dean, played by Simon Rex. And this guy, he's pretty much just doing whatever he can to get the ghost shirt, whether that's killing people, making deals with some of the other characters to give them a large amount of money, and then he's just going to sell it for an even larger amount of money. So he doesn't really care if he loses a ton of money on it, just because he knows that he's going to make up for it from whoever he's actually going to sell it to. uh, and he pretty much hires a bunch of hitmen uh, just to try to kill most of the main cast, and that's pretty much his whole deal. He's just the most ruthless one when it comes to trying to get this ghost shirt. All right, now that's pretty much all the characters and the plot. That's basically all it is. Fairly simple rundown of it. So I kind of wanted to get a little bit into complaining time. I honestly have very few complaints because I like the movie quite a bit. I thought that Penny Joe and Lefty were both really fun characters to watch. Even the villain, he seemed like an absolute greaseball. So I love villains who are like that, where they just seem very slimy and slippery, and just very conniving. So I did like that the villain quite a decent amount. I even liked the a Native American resistance group led by Ghost Eye. They were also pretty interesting to watch. There wasn't necessarily like a ton of depth to a lot of these characters. Like they gave them like these little like quirks and stuff, but I think because there were so many like leading characters, it kind of takes away from each of them a little bit at the end of the day. But it doesn't really matter a whole lot because they are so much fun to watch, and just seeing how their stories unfold on the big screen was just really enjoyable to me. So even though some of their characters I would say are lacking depth, more so like Penny Joe, Lefty, I would say I would have liked to see more Ghost Eye. Uh, they're all just kind of lacking a little bit character wise. I think Mandy, who's played by Halsey, uh, had an excellent role, and I honestly think that she's more like main character material than any of the other characters were in this movie. So watch, I think Mandy was probably my favorite character by the end of the movie, just because she just had so much going on. Uh, my biggest complaint, which is honestly just kind of like a kudos to the young actor, was that Cal is super annoying with his thinking he's the reincarnation of Sitting Bull, but every other character in the movie also thinks that he's super fucking annoying. So it's honestly fine. And honestly, kudos to that kid because I know that was his entire job was just to be super annoying with that shit, and he was. So excellent job, excellent job. I tip my hat because he did incredible. Overall, I would say that I think it was a great movie. I do plan on watching it again whenever I find it. I know it kind of flopped in the box office, and not a lot of people are watching it. So that's kind of one of my reasons for wanting to make this video. It's just to maybe hopefully get a few more people out go watch that movie. It's really great. It's really great. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 12 eggs, which is a pretty full egg carton if I do say so myself. And anyway, that's pretty much all I got. So have a good one and eat some eggs.